We continue to wait on results from some key states in the race to the White House. Our Washington correspondent Beazle John joins us live from our D.C. bureau with more on how the campaigns are doing. And Beazle, I just heard that Joe Biden took the lead now in Pennsylvania.
Good morning, guys, and yes, that is correct. Literally just a few minutes ago, we learned that former Vice President Joe Biden took the lead in Pennsylvania by more than 5,000 votes, and there are still more ballots to be counted, so we're going to be waiting on those results. And then earlier this morning, he took the lead in Georgia. He currently holds more than 1,000 votes in that state as well. And right now, you can see that there is a vast difference between how the president and the former vice president have been handling this information when it comes to the changing polls.
But there's been a lot of shenanigans, and we can't stand for that in our country.
President Donald Trump put the election process in question, claiming Democrats stole votes.
If you count the legal votes, I easily win. If you count the illegal votes, they can try to steal the election from us.
This accusation comes after the country saw major shifts in votes in some battleground states, such as Pennsylvania, Georgia, and Nevada. Former Vice President Joe Biden says the voting process should be respected.
It is the will of the voters, no one, not anything else, that chooses the President of the United States of America.
Biden did not try to claim victory, but asks his supporters to be patient.
We have no doubt that when the count is finished, Senator Harris and I will be declared the winners. So, I ask everyone to stay calm, all the people to stay calm.
The Trump campaign challenged the election process in states like Georgia and Michigan, but judges have already dismissed them. Now, we are waiting for more results to come down, and there is a possibility we could hear some final numbers come out of either Georgia or Pennsylvania later this morning. But don't get your hopes up for a winner to be declared, as there is still possibility for a recount. But for right now, I'm Beazle John reporting live from Washington.
All right, thanks for that update, Beazle. And now we're going to take a look at the path to 270. As you just heard there, that breaking news, Joe Biden is in the lead in Pennsylvania now. Overnight, he also took the lead in Georgia. However, the path to 270 has not changed much in the last 24 hours. We're still waiting for 5 states to complete its results, so that still leaves Joe Biden with 264 electoral votes and President Trump with 214.
Yeah, the only path for Trump's re-election is to win all 5 states outright. So what are we waiting on? Just a few minutes ago, Biden took the lead in Pennsylvania. He's now up by 1/10 of a percent. It equals nearly 6,000 votes. Both candidates focused on this state before the election. 20 electoral votes are available in Pennsylvania.
And overnight, Biden took the lead in Georgia. Although the candidates are in a statistical tie, he is leading by 917 votes with 99% of the precincts reporting. We should get those results today to find out who gets Georgia's 16 electoral votes.
All right, let's take a look at Nevada now. We had more votes to come in yesterday, but statistically nothing's changed. Right now, Biden is up by 0.9%. Nevada says it will likely be this weekend before election officials have the majority of the votes counted.
And then there's also North Carolina. There's 15 electoral votes up for grabs. President Trump is up by almost a point and a half with 94% of the precincts reporting there.
In Alaska, only 50% of the votes have been counted, but the president maintains a strong lead for those 3 electoral votes.
Now, something to keep in mind, not all news outlets have called Arizona in Biden's favor. He's up 1.6 with 90% of the precincts reporting.
So where do we go from here, right? It's still a wait and see, but with the exception of Alaska, Biden only needs 1 more state to win the presidency.
And coming up at 8:45, we are going to talk with John DePippa from the University of Arkansas Little Rock Bowen School of Law about those lawsuits that have been filed.